Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the most interesting SUVs expected for the 2027 model year, the Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. Volkswagen has been building the Atlas Cross Sport around a simple idea: give drivers the practicality and presence of a midsize SUV, but add a more stylish, sportier shape that feels a little more personal and dynamic. For 2027, the Atlas Cross Sport is expected to receive a major redesign, and one of the biggest highlights is a turbocharged engine producing around 282 horsepower. So in this video, we're going to take a detailed look at what this new SUV could bring to the market, from its exterior design and performance to its interior technology, comfort, practicality, and everyday driving experience. At first glance, the 2027 Atlas Cross Sport is expected to look more modern and more refined than the outgoing model. Volkswagen has traditionally kept its SUV designs clean and understated, and that philosophy should continue here, but with sharper details and a stronger road presence. The front end is likely to feature a wider and more confident appearance, with slim LED lighting, a redesigned grille area, and a more sculpted bumper. The overall design should make the Atlas Cross Sport look premium without becoming overly aggressive. The lighting is also an important part of the design. Modern Volkswagen models have increasingly focused on distinctive LED signatures, and the 2027 Atlas Cross Sport should continue that trend. Imagine approaching the vehicle at night and seeing a clean, bright LED lighting signature stretching across the front, combined with carefully shaped headlights that give the SUV a recognizable appearance. The rear should receive similar attention, with modern LED taillights and a cleaner tailgate design. The side profile is where the Cross Sport name really makes sense. Compared with traditional boxier SUV design, the Atlas Cross Sport has a more coupe-inspired roofline and a sportier silhouette. The longer hood, sloping roof, large side windows, pronounced wheel arches, and strong character lines should give the 2027 model a confident stance. It is the kind of SUV that should look equally comfortable parked outside a shopping center, sitting in a suburban driveway, or traveling down the highway on a long road trip. Volkswagen is also expected to offer a variety of wheel designs and exterior finishes, giving buyers the ability to make the SUV look more luxurious, more sporty, or more rugged depending on the trim. Larger wheels can give the Atlas Cross Sport a more aggressive appearance, while smaller wheels with more sidewall could provide a smoother and more comfortable ride. Now let's talk about the biggest part of the story: performance. The 2027 Atlas Cross Sport is expected to feature a turbocharged engine producing around 282 horsepower. That figure puts the SUV in an interesting position, because this isn't simply an economy-focused family vehicle. With that amount of power, Volkswagen can give the Atlas Cross Sport enough performance for a confident highway acceleration, comfortable overtaking, and everyday driving with a full cabin. Turbocharging is particularly useful in an SUV because it can provide strong torque at lower engine speeds. That means when you're pulling away from a stoplight, merging onto a highway, or climbing a hill with passengers and luggage, the engine should feel responsive without requiring the driver to constantly push the accelerator to its limit. For many SUV buyers, horsepower is only one part of the equation. What really matters is how the vehicle delivers that power. The ideal Atlas Cross Sport should feel smooth around town, confident on highways, and predictable when carrying passengers. Volkswagen has plenty of experience tuning vehicles for European-style road manners, so the 2027 model could offer a nice balance between comfort and driving response. The transmission will also play an important role. A well-calibrated automatic transmission can keep the turbocharged engine in its strongest operating range while still delivering smooth shifts during normal driving. When you want more performance, the transmission can respond more quickly and hold lower gears for stronger acceleration. Depending on configuration and market, buyers may also have access to Volkswagen's all-wheel drive system. For customers living in areas where rain, snow, or poor road conditions are common, all-wheel drive can provide additional confidence. It doesn't turn the Atlas Cross Sport into a dedicated off-road vehicle, but it can make the SUV more versatile when road conditions become difficult. And that's really where the Atlas Cross Sport has an advantage. It isn't trying to be a hardcore off-road machine. Instead, it is designed for people who want an SUV that can handle everyday life while still looking stylish and feeling powerful. Think about a typical week. You might use the vehicle for commuting Monday through Friday, take the family shopping on Saturday, and then load it up for a weekend road trip. That's the environment where an SUV like this makes sense. Inside the cabin, Volkswagen is expected to focus heavily on technology and comfort. The 2027 Atlas Cross Sport should have a modern dashboard layout with digital displays, a large central infotainment screen, and connected features designed around the driver's daily needs. The interior should continue Volkswagen's move toward a cleaner, more digital cabin. Instead of an overly complicated dashboard filled with buttons, the new design is likely to emphasize screens, simple shapes, and high-quality materials. The driver's display is especially important because modern SUVs are expected to provide much more information than traditional analog gauges. Drivers can potentially see vehicle information, navigation instructions, driving data, safety warnings, and other useful information directly in front of them. The central touchscreen will be another major part of the experience. This is where drivers and passengers can interact with navigation, audio, smartphone connectivity, vehicle settings, and other functions. For a family SUV, the screen needs to be easy to understand because nobody wants to spend several minutes trying to find a simple climate or audio setting while driving. Comfort should remain one of the Atlas Cross Sport's strongest qualities. The front seats are expected to provide plenty of adjustment, making it easier for taller drivers to find a comfortable position. The elevated seating position also gives the driver a better view of traffic, compared with a traditional sedan. The second row is just as important. Even though the Cross Sport has a sportier roofline, it still needs to provide useful passenger space. Adults should have enough room to sit comfortably, and families should have enough space for child seats, backpacks, shopping bags, and everything else that tend to come along on a normal day. The rear seats should also be useful for longer journeys. Good cushioning, sufficient legroom, climate control availability, USB charging, and convenient storage areas can make a huge difference when you're spending several hours inside the vehicle. Then there is cargo space. One of the biggest reasons people buy SUVs instead of sedans is practicality. The Atlas Cross Sport needs to provide enough room behind the rear seats for groceries, luggage, sports equipment, or everyday family gear. When the rear seats are folded down, the available space becomes even more useful for larger items. That versatility is one of the reasons the Atlas Cross Sport remains an appealing concept. You get the driving position and cargo flexibility of an SUV, but you don't necessarily have to drive something that looks like a traditional giant family vehicle. The exterior dimensions also contribute to the sense of space. A wide body and relatively long wheelbase can give the interior a more open feeling, while also improving stability at highway speeds. For families, safety is another major consideration. Modern SUVs are expected to come with a comprehensive collection of driver assistance systems. Depending on trim and market, buyers can expect features designed to help monitor surrounding traffic, maintain distance from vehicles ahead, assist with lane positioning, and provide warnings when potential hazards are detected. Of course, driver assistance technology should never replace the driver's attention, but these systems can make long highway drives less stressful and provide an additional layer of support. The 2027 Atlas Cross Sport should also be designed around everyday visibility. Large mirrors, strategically positioned windows, parking sensors, and available camera systems can make maneuvering this midsize SUV much easier. Parking assistance is especially useful because even though the Atlas Cross Sport has a sporty appearance, it is still a fairly substantial vehicle. A good camera system can help drivers see areas around the vehicle that are difficult to see from the driver's seat. Another area worth discussing is ride quality. SUV buyers often want a vehicle that feels solid and comfortable without becoming soft or disconnected from the road. The suspension tuning of the 2027 Atlas Cross Sport will therefore be extremely important. Volkswagen needs to find a balance between absorbing bumps and maintaining body control through corners. On a smooth highway, the ideal Atlas Cross Sport should feel stable and quiet. On rougher roads, the suspension should absorb imperfections without making the cabin feel unsettled. Road noise is another important factor. A modern midsize SUV competing in the premium end of the mainstream market needs to provide a relatively quiet cabin. Good insulation, aerodynamic design, and carefully tuned suspension components can make long-distance travel much more relaxing. And then there's the question of fuel economy. A turbocharged engine producing around 282 horsepower can offer strong performance, but efficiency will still matter to buyers. Modern turbocharged engines are designed to provide power when needed while operating more efficiently during lighter driving. Real-world fuel economy will ultimately depend on the final engine calibration, vehicle weight, drivetrain size, driving conditions, and how aggressively the vehicle is driven. For someone who spends most of their time commuting, the Atlas Cross Sport should be comfortable and efficient enough for everyday use, while the extra power is there whenever you need it. The driving position should also make the vehicle feel approachable. You sit higher than you would in a sedan, but the vehicle doesn't necessarily feel like a huge truck. That combination can be attractive to drivers who want better visibility, without moving into an oversized SUV. One of the most interesting things about the Atlas Cross Sport is its positioning in Volkswagen's lineup. It sits in that sweet spot for buyers who want more space than a compact SUV, but don't necessarily need a massive three-row vehicle. That means a target customer could be a young family, a couple who enjoys road trips, an individual who needs extra cargo capacity, or simply someone who likes the styling and elevated driving position of an SUV. The design also gives it a different personality from more traditional family SUVs. The sloping roof and athletic proportions make it feel more lifestyle-oriented. Imagine the 2027 Atlas Cross Sport parked in a showroom under bright lights. You walk around the front and notice the sharp LED signature. Move toward the side and you see the large wheels and sculpted bodywork. Walk around the rear and the vehicle has a wide, planted appearance. Open the tailgate and you see the practical cargo area. Step inside and you're greeted by a modern digital cabin with a large infotainment display and comfortable seats. Then you start the engine, select drive, and the turbocharged powertrain comes to life. Around town, it should feel smooth and easy to control. Step onto the highway and the 282 horsepower engine should provide the acceleration needed to merge confidently into traffic. That's the overall idea behind the 2027 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, combining everyday practicality with stronger performance and a more modern design. Of course, there are still details that buyers will want to know before making a final decision, including exact pricing, trim levels, fuel economy, available drivetrain configurations, technology packages, dimensions, and final production specifications. Those details can vary by market and may change before the vehicle reaches dealerships. But based on expected redesign, the 2027 Atlas Cross Sport could be one of Volkswagen's most interesting midsize SUVs. It doesn't need to be the fastest SUV on the road or the most luxurious vehicle in its class. Instead, its strength comes from balance. You get SUV practicality, a sporty exterior, a turbocharged engine with around 282 horsepower, modern technology, a comfortable cabin, and the versatility needed for everyday life. And that's exactly what makes this vehicle worth watching. If Volkswagen gets a balance right, the 2027 Atlas Cross Sport could appeal to buyers who want something more exciting than a traditional family SUV without sacrificing the features that make an SUV useful. So, what do you think about the redesigned 2027 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport? Would you choose it over a Toyota, Honda, Ford, Hyundai, Kia, or another midsize SUV? And would the 282 horsepower turbocharged engine be enough for you, or would you want even more performance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this full look at the 2027 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming videos on new cars, SUVs, electric vehicles, hybrids, and the latest automotive technology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.